Hello students. Hi here, Hemant Prajapati here. Today I am going to teach you figure of speech. Figure of speech, you know very well, it is the most important in the poem and the drama also. So this one is a 8 to 12 standard here by Hemant Prajapati here, educator. So first of all, here the what are the figures of speech? So here we can see now a figure of speech is a literary device in which a language is used in an unusual or figured way in order to produce a stylistic effect. Figure of speech can be broken into two main groups. The figure of speech that play with ordinary meaning of words such as like a metaphor, simile, hyperbole, and figure of speech that play with the ordinary ornament that actually you can see here. The pattern in which the words are the written such as like alliteration, ellipsis, and the antithesis. These are the figure of speech. The figure of speech, generally we can say the definition of it. The figure of speech are not only the ornaments language, but also the parts and the parcel of the human language in moments of emotions of excitement. We also see in the poem. The further lots of examples are there. So first of all, we will see here a figure of speech. Figure of speech here, the rhetorical device that achieves a spatial effect by using the words in a distinctive way. So there are hundred of figure of speeches, and here we will focus on 10 top examples here. The first of all here, simile. What is simile? It is a very most important, and always ask in the exam also. Simile, you know very well about the simile is a figure of speech that makes a comparison, showing a similarities between two different things, unlike a metaphor. A simile draws resembles with the help of the words like or as. You can see here that like or as. Therefore, it is a direct comparison. Just remind a direct comparison. It means here a simile. The examples are given here. The first, life is just like a dream to us. The second example, her face is like a red rose. So comparison you can see here. The most important thing is the comparison. Like a red rose. Her face and red rose. Okay. The next one is here. They behave like a wild animal. So direct comparison here. That's why it is called the simile. This example of it. An old woman rises toward her day after day like the terrible fish. So these are some examples you can see here in front of you. The second one is here metaphor. What happened in this metaphor? Indirect or implicit comparison between two different objects is called metaphor. The example you can see here, the mirror is the eye of little God. So mirror and God, little eye. The comparison you can see here. The second example, my mother is a goddess. So indirect comparison here. So in short, we have to just keep in mind that indirect comparison means that a metaphor, and direct comparison means that it is a singular. Next is the example here. Tea is the nectar to the earth. The third one is here personification. What is here the personification? When in inanimate things or idea address as an eminent person, it is called personification. In the personification, the examples here, the birds carries a message. Generally, I have seen that, but actually doesn't carry the message. But here in the poem, we use a personification in the poem, and that's why here the examples here, the birds carries a message. The tree king shouted. Generally, what happened that here the tree doesn't shout in the forest somewhere. But here we use the personification in the poem, and that's why you use here the line. The tree king shouted loudly. Generally, I have seen that in a cartoon also. Okay, so this is one of the example of it. The next example, oh tree, my dear tree, help me. So non-living things here they become the living in the poem. That's why it is called the personification. The next one is here, transferred epitome. Generally, this question is also asked, this figure of speech asked in the exam. In this figure of speech, what happened here? The qualifying adjective is sometimes transferred from a person to an object or from one word to another. The example is here. He passed a sleepless night. Sleepless night, just here, so look at that word. It's a sleepless night. The second example is okay, she wrote many anxious letters to her lover. And next one is see, frying on the frightened air. The underlined words are see in this figure of speech, what the qualified adjectives is sometimes transferred from the person to the object. That's why. And the next one is here the apostrophe. It is a figure of speech in which what happened, the abstract idea or the inanimate objects are addressed as if they are alive there. It means turning aside, so the writer turns aside to address a person absent, death, or in a inanimate object. The examples you can see here now. Goodbye, my dear old home, because that one is a old, and we said here goodbye because we will not see it again. That's why. The next one is Bapu. India is in need of you today, but Bapu is not here. The all things here, you know, non-living things here, the inanimate person. But we recall to the examples of, using the apostrophe. The next one is here, hyperbole. Hyperbole is very easy. You also know very well about it. So hyperbole means here, the word actually hyper means beyond. What is the meaning of here? The hyper. Hyper means beyond, and the bole means here throw. Literally, throwing a beyond means exaggeration. There is an overstatement. In order to make the statement emphatic, we just give the emphatic time. Just emphasize on it. Like the sea rose mountain high. The sea rose mountain high. The second example, a lover's eye will guess in an eagle blind. Here's now see the lover's eyes and eagle blind. The third one is what happened here. See here the smell of blood still. All the perfumes of Arabian will not sweeten William Shakespeare. You know very well about it. I taken from this slide. The next one is here euphemism. Euphemism also asks sometimes exam. In this figure of speech, what happened? A thing which not a pleasant or the agreeable is expressed in a soft and a pleasant way. The examples you can see here, he plays with a tooth. He is a liar, that's why. The second one is what? She is a far from being modest because she is arrogant. And he was gathered to his father because he died. That's why. Euphemism. The next one is here. Antithesis. What happened here? The antithesis. It is a figure of speech in which what happened? Two completely contrasting words of the sentiments are made to balance each other for the sake of emphasis. The example, the first, what happened here? Speech is silver and silent is golden. You have a listen this, bro. That's why. The next one is here. To err is a human, to forgive divine. And third one is here, the man processes, a God disposes. This one is an example of it. Through this example, you can also learn it. And the ninth one is a oxymoron. Oxymoron is a figure of speech in which what happened? Two contradictory qualities are brought there together for sake of emphasis. Also, it is same like it. The examples you can see here. He is easy, idler, or a slackers. The second one is here. Romeo is an honorable villain. And third one is Mumbai is a great heaven for the world, right? The last one is here the epigram. Epigram is a it is a brief pointing saying that which introducing the anti uh, antithetical idea. Actually, it gives us a temporary shock. Examples you can see here: the child is the father of a man, and the coward dies many times before the death because he is a coward. And our anthologist is our helper. Examples are given. So thank you for watching this figure of speech. Okay.